Bing, bing. Here we go. It's Sam and Michael, and I had some ideas for LocalSupport refactoring. Let's go over here. Let's look at them here. Yes. So, did you see John's comments?
Yeah.
They weren't actually on our podcast. He was on
the old one, right?
He was on the old one, yeah. And he was just sort of saying, yeah, about having services as kind of treating them as first class things, which I think, sounds good. The particular thing that I was just thinking about our service this one was gone. Here it is. Is that actually here we could do? I think we could do this model class dot find or create by and simplify this whole thing.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So it would go something like this, and then we would have the whole thing.
All the other stuff in there.
Yeah, as a second parameter. I wonder if it makes sense to call that.
Well, you want that.
Yeah, I just like
another outcome.
Oh no! Oh, go on! I've lost the thing off the pad. Stupid. Okay. And I've had people point me to like things suggesting that an intermediate parameter is itself a kind of code smell. There we go. That's good. Oh, it didn't work. But in this case, when we've already got a reasonably long, I mean, I guess should we have a separate method that returns this?
That should probably be a hash, right?
Yeah.
You got parens.
Oh yeah.
Instead of brackets.
Right. It did something weird. I wonder if this is the. I don't know what. Let's try. For some reason, when I'm doing code completion there, it's like it's spacing out all of the things, which it's breaking the colons away from. That looks like it's doing it for a different language. No, it's Ruby. Come on, Ruby 2.3. Like that. I guess to be it has to have the that's probably what I've as you were saying, I haven't got these inputs. That's the problem. There we go. And then maybe that is more Ruby. Oops, yeah. Freudian slip.
Up.
Yeah. This would be the more Ruby-ish way to do it, I guess.
Maybe, yeah.
Why is that complaining about? What are you complaining about?
Don't know.
Oh, it expected a hash. Now is that? Find or create. Let's just have a look at the. Can I? I guess now the thing from there is I can't. Interesting. If we go up. Find or create by. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, okay. Maybe we can't use it in the way that I hoped.
Crap! You got to pass a block.
Well, right. Okay. Does it?
It is possible to turn that into a create function or whatever that accepts an op.
Yeah, I just want to pass it. I mean, I guess the block. Okay. So right, is the implication that in order to do it correctly,
Let's think.
we have to do this,
No.
and then we need to do
All of those equal.
right, and that kind of needs, and then that needs to be. So this is a. So that's the op there, isn't it? No,
Do op.
Well, we'll have a conflict with the op above. I guess we put do model there.
Yeah.
So then it becomes
model.source.
right like that. Okay. Is that what we want? And that needs to be. Yeah, and then therefore a really tight test, one could be you'd be testing that the block passes every little thing through. Okay, so we think that might work. So the thing there to test that is that we've got, which is our cucumber test that does this. So we've got features.
Volunteer opportunities. Do it.
Yeah. Okay. So that appears to work. And I think that's kind of nicer than what we had before. Still ends up being kind of a long method. But so I have the right there. You whittling something.
What?
It sounds like you're kind of you're whistling with a knife. Something you carving a figurine or something.
Yeah, just.
Yeah. So here, what we want then is find or instead of here it's find or create by, and I think that's an improvement on this spec.
Why is it failing now? Oh, because you.
I didn't. I mean, I just wanted to see that it failed in the way that I expected. And I think the interesting thing from what John was saying is he was saying like we should have acceptance tests that test directly these services, and in fact, I would argue now that we do, because we call that in the cucumber test and it checks that this works. That's the integration test. It's going directly into this service, and then it then doesn't really make sense to have another integration test of the same thing. It makes more sense to have a a unit test, and here we've got like a single outgoing thing here. I mean, I guess we could be checking that block assigns precisely that, but that just seems kind of insane, really. So I was just recalling that. I think we've got 2 pages on, so it's this. What we should also do is just quickly look at the if we run this opportunity spec and read the thing. So we say import the opportunities, 1 page of ops found, checks the model class 16 times, queries the proper radius and do it API. 3 mile radius, queries the proper radius. No ops found does not check the model class. Doesn't read quite as wonderfully. I think it should say like one page of ops, one page of 16 ops found. So rather than checks the model class, it's checks for presence and or creates 16 times. And then we've got queries the proper radius via the DoIt API. Now we've got this context of the 3 mile radius.
Yeah, that's where we.
And that feels like that is kind of, should that be inside here? Because this response here is the same as this response.
Probably,
yeah. There we go. 2 pages of
queries the 3 mile radius or a 3 mile.
Yeah. Here we go. I guess. Oh yeah, we also end up with these some rather long lines.
I mean, the query strings could be broken out into variables, or
yes, and I was just thinking that we can refer to the constants. This one should now say queries the default radius. But this one actually should be. This is checks for presence 30 ops.
oh.
That one, there we go. So rather than does not check them, does not check for the presence.
For presence, yeah.
And or create any ops. Yes, important vulnerabilities. 2 pages of 30 ops found. Checks for presence and or creates 30 ops. 1 page of 16 ops found. Checks for presence and or creates 16 ops. Checks the default radius via the DoIt API. 3 mile radius queries the 3 mile radius via the DoIt API. No ops found. Does not check for the presence and or create any ops. That, I think that's a little bit better. And then I was thinking, so we've got here, we've got this as the. This is interesting. I don't know how you feel about this. It almost feels to me like it's sort of strange to redefine this both here and in the. So we can sort of go here. We can go like volunteer op like this, and I guess even do the build of this. What do you think about that?
Okay.
And then we can do the same thing here. This needs to be 0.5.
Is that going to actually work, though? I mean, volunteer.
I believe so. Although apparently it hasn't. Oh no, sorry, I've done the wrong name. It should have been this class, shouldn't it? Interesting that I've put hound on, and I've put its oh, interesting. Okay, and we're missing. Right. Now here, do we actually even? I guess they're. Yeah, the href updates, doesn't it? That's why the.
I mean, you can put the host in the href, but then.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it needs them separate here for a sort of splitting out. It's ironic that the our nice self-describing class name gets in the way of us shortening these things here.
Well, you can pull them into.
Well, I can say again. I can.
I said you could pull them into let blocks. The query, the expected query.
Oh yeah, right. It could be
pulled into a let block.
Yeah, so we could build we could say let URL.
So that would be the URL, the default URL.
Yeah, so we could take. Well, if we're this is the situation where I like if I've got two strings, I almost feel like it makes more sense just like it's shorter to just plus them together rather than doing this interpolation. But see, and in Python, we could we could pull those constants in here, couldn't we, directly?
Mm-hmm.
I imagine there's some sort of way to do that in Ruby, but let's not get through this route. Now, oh, does the get only? Oh, what's going on there? It expected. Oh, I've got them the wrong way around. Okay.
Well,
okay, that works. And we've got. How do you feel about the line length issue? I mean, I guess all of these things could become do end blocks in order to make them
shorter.
Yeah, I'm just not sure how to feel about the line length issue. It's like what level of. I mean, that gets everything under 90. I don't think it looks.
80
Yeah, 80 is the limit, and I've kind of the one I've put in the pound system at the moment is 90.
Oh.
Just to give it, to give it a bit of wiggle room. Otherwise, you just get so many pound things.
But 80 is that because it's on the old terminals or whatever.
That's right, and I guess there's an argument to say that people might want to do tmux on and text programming on different things on this. I don't know. I'm not sure how much weight to put on that. Do you know what I mean? You want to support as many people as possible contributing to the project. At the same time, yeah. And then it's like, okay, well, how much time to actually spend even debating it. So I think I'm done there with those refactorings.
Okay.
So I'll just run the broader tests. I haven't broken anything else. But then, so the other refactoring that we've kind of got out
controller
is the controller one, yeah. Which maybe I'll push it over to you and you can drive for that one. Is that
what?
So I was going to say I'll push it over to you and we could Pong there. Seems like a good place to swap.
Okay.
I mean, this was I had a fairly clear idea about what to do. Oh crap! We just got the dev code we don't need. Oh, the other thing that I noticed is that we did lose some test coverage, and actually it was in the controller. So anyway, we can look at that there. So what time is it where you are? It's like 10 or something.
10:30.
10:30. Yeah. I should push this over to you. It looks like it's going to be okay. I guess I'll just get it up to you. Git commit minus. I used git bisect earlier today actually to trace down a bug in website 1. Have you ever used git bisect?
No, I've heard of it though. But,
It's one of those things. I mean, I'd sort of heard of it, and people saying, "Oh yeah, that's why you need to keep all your commits green, in order to use it." And I was like, "Wow, I've never used it." Well, I mean,
Oh, that's the thing where it tests, right?
right? It kind of goes back and
where the quote unquote bug came and
right. It's if you've got a series of commits, so it's
there's some fancy name for that. I think bisect, yeah.
Yeah. It's doing a binary search. I'm not quite sure how it works without, or does it run? Like, does it actually run the tests? It seems like actually, I may not have used it right. I think you have to run the test yourself, and then you tell it if it passed or failed, and then it will go somewhere else. I guess that's what it's doing. Right, that starts to make sense. And cleans up spec. Git push origin 113 613 673.
But what do you do when the regression test didn't exist in that commit?
I don't know. I mean, then if you go back to that, then it wouldn't have failed, right? If it didn't exist at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're doing your test-driven development, then presumably will all work very smoothly. Anyway, yeah, that's all green. Sorry, I should push that up first. But yeah, so you could pull that out. That's what I could do as well. Is I could even just ask people. It's been very not completely quiet, but Hound, is it even worth it? Anyway, I could ask people if there was enough people, anybody who was actually planning to come into the stand-up, and if there's not, then we could just carry on through rather than breaking up. I'll just say here, who's planning to attend the Atlantic stand-up today, considering if we could do a text-based one. Do that general as well, why not? Yeah, I mean, at the top level with the project, there's so many different level decisions that one can be making, about, should we have Hound? Should we have, what sort of automated things should we have on the CI?
Right.
The project flow, what approach should we use towards, testing this, that, and the other. And it's for any one of these things, you could have sort of quite an involved debate, right, on each one. And then it's a question of which are the ones that are really worth spending time on. I'm sort of second guessing myself a lot at the moment.
So what did you think of growing object-oriented software by tests?
I thought that was interesting.
Did you buy it or?
No, I downloaded it in the first instance. I'm planning to buy it so I can read it as soon as I've finished. I think I'm going to try. I've got another. I should put it on order today, really, because I've got basically about another 20 pages of domain-driven design. But yeah, I mean, I sort of just read the section on the mocks thing, and I thought the interesting thing about this thing about don't mock what you don't own. In this instance, we do own volunteer op, right? It's what just want to go to it. Go on. The interesting thing is that the method, for example, in this find and create by, we don't own. Right. So, and it was unclear to me from unclear to me. Yeah, it was unclear to me whether we should from reading the section and also from reading the several blog posts that I found that I sent you the links for. It was unclear about. It was unclear to me if their intention was that they're talking about you shouldn't mock a type that you don't own.
Mhm.
And is a method a type? I mean, when you say type to me, it sounds more like that's kind of an object.
Mhm.
So anyway, I don't know if you had feelings or thoughts about that. Either way.
True. But in some sense, there is a type. It's the active record type
Right.
from which those things are inherited.
That's right. But
It's kind of a form of kind of like composition.
yes, indeed.
But
And I'm totally in two minds about it because I was already like in the process of writing some of the other
I guess it's a question of to what degree, because they say like why their rationale, right?
I don't know.
Their
I found it sort
rationale.
of. I didn't really. Well, I guess that the rationale is that
To
it
what
just.
degree does that rationale apply to?
Well, it sort of seemed to me that they were just saying don't do it, rather than necessarily developing a really coherent rationale. I'm just trying to find the only mock what you own. Yeah.
Okay, so the R specs and the Qs passed.
Great. Yeah. Do you want to get into? Should we just have a look around in the
Roller.
yeah volunteer ops? I mean, we've got these three places where we're calling the third-party thing there.
Mm-hmm. So this Gmap for Rails, right? That's the third. That's the.
Yeah, I mean that's our third party. That's kind of
That's the gem.
right.
And then the question is, okay, how do we want to organize this? Huh.
Yes, that's absolutely. Yeah, I mean the thing that I feel like what happened last time was that each of these things need to well, last time a sort of a separate service was split out, but it had very little in it. Like the lines 10, 11, and well, basically 10 and 11 were kind of in the service, and we were calling this service, and then we were passing the like lines 12 through 23 as a block to the service, and it just sort of it seemed like sort of excessively convoluted. The thing that I'm tempted to try, although John has already said that he's like a bit suspicious of, is the point where we're touching the controller is this rendered a string, and I think we should be passing the and then it is something to experiment with. Is have a service where we pass the controller in as kind of a listener, and then we call rendered a string back on the listener. But maybe I don't know. All of this stuff should go into the service.
Huh. So we would just be passing VOPs into the service?
Well, we would need to pass. Well, we could try something like that where we just pass. I mean, in some ways, like it seems like the service can call Gmap for Rails, build markers, but we would need to pass in volunteer ops and the controller.
Right. Huh.
And then the controller can call using then it's like listener render to string in the service. That would at least take pretty much everything out of the
controller.
Yeah, which seems like kind of a good thing. I mean, we've got the weird things in there, like we've got action controller base helpers asset path and stuff. I mean, there's other.
So what degree do these differ? Let's see. Do these actually differ at all between these three uses? Oh, source log.
I don't think so.
They look exactly identical to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think in some ways we're kind of convoluting it. Like the thing takes an array Like in 2 cases, we only have a single thing, and we like sort of we're doing like an extra query that we don't even need to do in order to pass it. But hey, I mean that's
So if we wanted to try that, would we write a test first, or just?
Well, here I would be tempted to kind of sketch it out, like, and sort of create a service that we. I mean, I guess the touch points would be that we would need to pass it in. I mean, we could be writing a test. We could be writing a test. I mean, okay.
Let's see if it even works. I mean,
yeah,
it does seem like it should work, but whatever.
yeah.
What do we want to name this service? I mean, what is it really doing? It's building markers.
Well, the thing that it's doing. I mean, we're passing it this block. It's kind of it's building the markers, and it's setting the the pop-up window. So the info window is one thing, and then we've got what's that marker.json custom marker rendered a string. Okay, so it's basically it's building the volop markers with what are they called? Like, with custom icon and info window.
Yeah, yeah.
Is basically what it is.
But that can't all go in the name, right? I mean,
well, and it's not necessarily volops per se. Like it's just build markers. So I think it should be like build markers with info window.
Build markers with info window.
I mean, and you could even put on that.
Class. Okay. And will we have an initialize method?
Well, I would be tempted to do this thing is to follow the pattern that we have in the import do it volunteer opportunities, where we have the with. Hmm.
In some sense, we just want to pull that in.
Right. Exactly.
We're just there we go. Now we want to dot with. instead of all that. I want to say build
Right.
window and we want the string, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I'm assuming that works, of course. That was just a guess.
We're failing that. Let's see. Build markers with them. Oh, uninitialized constant. So it thinks that. Let's see. What is this? And do it.
Where is that? Yeah, build models with info window.
I think it's within the scope of the volunteer ops controller.
I think it's the problem that you've got, like, info window has got a camel case, and then in the Ruby file it's got info underscore window.
Oh.
I mean, it hasn't got window underscore window.
Let me. So it looks like that passed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just as is.
Yeah, just with this change.
Oh, okay, cool. That's looking a lot cleaner, isn't it?
And potentially we could just
just see if that works for the
change that out and then change that out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do I run everything under vol ops or volunteer ops? Just
I think you could just do a star there. Start off. You just do start up feature or star is probably fine. Interesting. John is talking about interesting sort of thing he's trying to do with this new front end. Anyway, it's in general.
Marion and him were working on something place. So they all seem to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Just run all the cukes now.
Sure. Yeah, if we go back to just show me the service again.
Just cut and paste and change it.
Yeah. See, that I guess now the other thing I would be tempted to do there is to make the service completely independent of Rails. Is I would possibly take that action controller base helpers thing and pass that. I mean, actually, well, maybe we should rather than doing anything now. See, this would be an interesting. Now that we know that the approach is sort of approximately okay, the interesting thing here, I think, would be to write a test that, I mean, if we follow the methodology of the way that I've done it in import do it volunteer opportunities, and we leave the integration testing to the cucumber, then we effectively try and write a test that can run without any dependency on any gems or any part of Rails.
Okay. You mean injecting all these things?
Yeah, with appropriate defaults. I mean, the other thing that I wonder there is, and maybe it's not for right now. I mean, with this one, you happen to have used the term VolOps, and obviously we're factoring the volunteer operations controller. But I think we're doing similar build marking operations.
Go on. Something broke here, but this doesn't seem related. I don't know.
No, that's okay. That's one of our failing ones there. Can you just check authentication steps 42 for me? I had been.
Wait time 10.
Okay, interesting. So yeah, this is the place where I'd increase that to 10 in order to. I mean, I suspect if you rerun that one, it will. This is this one that is failing intermittently on CI. Since I changed it to 10, I haven't seen it fail again. I wonder if we should change the wait time on that one to 20. But but I was going to say we've got build map markers in like the organizations controller.
That passed. Okay.
Yeah. Which has got variations on theme there. Yeah. Anyhow. Yeah. Do you want to try driving the creation of the test? You want to?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to? Yeah. We'll go ahead and make a spec then for a build markers with info window.
That's not what we want. We want. No.
You're right then. What's not working? Can you do like? Can you just? Is that got like? Would that require there? Don't you just want like a ./app?
I was just basing off. Oh, yeah. For some reason, there you go.
Yeah.
So in some way, we want to inject Gmap for Rails, right?
Yeah. Well, but so I guess we could start off with just writing the test. We don't have to create any new injections. I mean, we're going to have to do one, which is to like inject to test the existing thing. We need to inject the listener, right? So we could probably just start with that. So we can create like a listener with a let statement.
So this spy.
Mm.
What does that let us do exactly?
Basically, it's exactly the same as a double, except that we can sort of talk to it afterwards. So you notice how we've got that instead of
we don't have to set up the expectation ahead of time.
No, you can do it after you call the method.
So where is that at? Model class.
Yeah. So I mean, in this, yeah. So we could make the listener a spy. You could just call it spy, listener. And then Well, to follow what we were doing, we might create the subject first. I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I notice other people doing it, and I've kind of copied it, which is like the style of when testing a service,
Yeah.
to actually make the subject kind of the execution of the service, and then in your it statements, the service is already run.
Volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
Build mark. Need markers too somehow. We need ball ups. I mean, we need ball ups.
Yeah, but so that can just be defined as just a double in the first instance. I guess. I mean, it may actually be simpler just to define it as an array with some doubles in it.
Right?
Yeah, yeah. And so now we have an it. Right. And then, yeah, the first test can be exactly.
Uninitialized constant build markers with info.
Right. And so then that's pushing us to, I would, do dependency injection.
So what do we want to call that?
I think we could call it just Gmap for red. I mean, what is it? I guess it's the marker builder, basically. And then, yeah, so I'd say that, yeah, exactly equal to, yeah.
It's not there is because we're not importing the whole stack, right? Obviously.
Right. Did you put the marker builder in the subject? Oh, you did, and that's, yeah. So our doubles are now starting.
Message build markers.
So I think that's exactly what we would expect.
So what do we want to actually do here? We want.
Well, I would be tempted just to make the double. I mean, I guess that we could put depending upon whether we want to. What we could do there is make the marker double a spy, and then after having called subject, we could say expect it to have received, build markers with volops.
So if we made this, I mean, if we did this as build markers.
Build markers with volops. Yeah.
And then that should be green, maybe. Yeah, that's green.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, so we can change the on line 13. What is it? This is the build marker calls requests the marker builder to make markers. I don't know. Yes. And so what I would be tempted to do there is that make the VOLOPs, rather than just being a pure double, is to make the VOLOPs actually an array of doubles, like give it like a just two individual. Like we might want like if we just make it an actual array, and then inside you have like VOLOP 1 and VOLOP 2, and then yeah, and have those. Yeah. So then now, yeah, I just don't know how the SPI works here, but what I would like to be, we should be expected, if we look back at the, well, I should look at the thing itself here. What am I looking at here? I'm looking at build map marks, something else. Where's the volunteer ops controller? I've got the old version. Is like what we want to check that. What else is going on here? I mean, there's sort of, as well as build markers having been called. I mean, this is the interesting thing that we've got a block being passed in.
Yeah.
And
so build markers could yield.
Yeah, I mean, there's all that syntax for testing of blocks. I think what we want to just ensure it. I mean, that's the interesting thing here is that
all the like logics inside the block, really.
Yeah, and so there's an interesting question there about what we expect to be happening here. Like the way we've got it set up at the moment is that the VOLOP is, well, I guess what we want is maybe more importantly than what gets called on the VOLOP is that we want the listener to be, the listener's rendered a string operation should be called a couple of times.
Well, that means we need to yield a block.
I don't know that, do we?
Oh, yeah. Don't we?
I don't know. I mean, I think the thing is that we're calling the build markers thing is the marker builder is a SPI, and we're calling it with a block, I guess.
But it's not doing anything, right? It's just.
I guess the block will never be executed.
Yeah, I don't think it will.
Right. I guess you've run it with the VOLOPs in. I mean, I guess obviously if the VOLOPs were being called with anything, they'd be complaining about it, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think so. Because they're doubles.
Yeah. So it's an interesting question there I mean, I remember when you and I were working on that, what were we working through? We were working through the very tight testing of that compiler stuff. And I think we kind of, we're testing all of these blocks and things. It was all very, very specific, but I don't think it necessarily got us anywhere. And it's an interesting question here in this context. To what level should we be testing it? I mean, it feels a slightly trivial test, right? To have just tested that it calls the build markers. Clearly, the block could be removed, and this test wouldn't fail for us.
Right.
I mean, I think the important thing is to test this is from the Sandy Metz thing, to test the interaction with the collaborator classes.
Yeah. Which would be the VOLOPs, the listeners, and the marker builders.
Yeah. Well, the marker builders being called once. I guess I should look up RSpec.
We have the test of the marker builder interaction.
We've done that. I mean, yield matches. What does it say? Version 9 3.4 yield matches. I mean, we can expect. We can expect there to be a yield.
A yield.
Oh, have I lost the? Come on, screen share. Yeah, like we can kind of define the block that it should be. I mean, I almost wonder here is should the, rather than passing it a sort of anonymous block, should we be defining a lambda or something like defining that? Should we be defining this method explicitly and
Right.
sort of testing rather than doing something complicated with a yield? Should we be pulling
That's
out?
yeah.
I mean, can we take that do volop marker method chunk, take that out as a separate method, and then pass it to the marker builder markers as a kind of what is it when you put the ampersand? Is it a lambda in Ruby?
Maybe.
Yeah, or proc. That's the other word they use, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to make a cup of tea. Do you want to think it over and then maybe when I come back, we'll pong and move?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a tea, and I'll leave you to think about it. How you doing?
All right.
What are you thinking about the approach here?
Well, found something which suggests that maybe we did it this way.
Right. Yeah, that's good.
This might all horribly break, though.
I'm definitely worth a try, man. But you're putting that in the public area, I guess, intentionally.
Oh, this way. There we go. Let's just run that and see. Okay, it's going to horribly fail.
I'm kind of confused because
Go on.
the documentation you're referring to there, or you keep looking at, doesn't seem to say anything about the kind of thing that you're doing, or am I missing something?
What?
In the last 2 minutes, you've been jumping backwards and forwards between that relish app RSpec thing about yield with no args matcher and
No,
the code.
I'm looking at this. Dig it over
Have you got more than one screen?
there. No.
Oh, that's weird. For something like at the moment, it's showing me the RSpec documentation. Is that not what you're looking at?
No, maybe you're looking at that.
Oh yeah, I think stupid. I had the thing. Yeah, I think. Oh, sorry. Do carry on. Oh.
See, why is this failing though? Undefined local variable or method vol op 1. In method missing core example group. This was passing, right? Oh. Probably should have ran that before.
The factoring.
It does pass. The spec does, which really. Thing actually. Features.
Volunteer V. And then do it.
Gonna break, right?
I don't know.
No, we passed.
No. I mean, although in this case, it's more than the do it voya, it's the full set of the star there.
So, assuming that passes.
Well, I think the interesting thing there is, can you move that build single marker into the private section of the service?
Yeah. I think we could. Why?
Oh, I mean, I'm kind of one of the
expose that or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, one of the, at least at the moment, if we don't need to expose it, then one of the rules of thumb that I'm going for, like, and what I've been doing, over the last year is a lot more general Ruby coding and a lot less Rails coding. And you know, trying to get into the habit of exposing the minimal interface necessary in order to get the job done.
So that's basically extracting it into a method, a private method.
Right, which we could then test separately.
And then building it.
Yeah.
Lambda.
Yeah.
Inline.
Yes.
And passing it to the markers method.
Yeah. Now, so yeah, I mean, just to clean that out, let's get rid of those commented code, and I would be tempted as well to put the method after the run method, like I would you know, in terms of the narrative of the thing, we would have run. So then I'm thinking, well, you know, there's testing the method individually, but of course it's a private method, so arguably we shouldn't be testing a private method individually. I guess
I kind of do want to test it, actually.
Well, I mean, I guess what we see, I guess from the point of view of the way we've structured the test of the service, is what we should be testing is that the collaborate, as we're talking about, the collaborating objects are tested, you know, are interacted with in the appropriate way, and that's also a sort of an aspect of stubbing them out. I mean,
right.
having now I guess what we could at least say here is at least we could be testing. Does that now allow us to write a test to check that the build markers receives the right kind of block? Do you know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
Maybe, yeah. What do you mean by that, though?
Well, is it time to pong? Do you want to push that over to me and I'll have a go? I mean, brother, I really like what we've done there in terms of, you know, having named method. I think it's one of the things that I think JavaScript goes absolutely nuts with, is just repeatedly having, you know, all these anonymous functions, and it's, you know, I just think it's kind of, it makes it really hard work to follow what's going on, because there's an extent to which giving it, you know, particularly if we're like, you know, trying to do self-documenting code, it's the method names that are the documentation. Yeah. And so, you know, if you've got like all these anonymous functions, then you've like, you know, you're really straying, you know, off the course. I got this new command called fuck. I know it. There we go. Did you just have you checked that? What's that? You should have you. Where's it gone? Bum. Oh, it's called. Is it called? Oh yeah, I think it's called the fuck. Oh. Have you heard of this?
No.
It seems to work particularly well with, like, there you go. Anyway, here it is. You might like to. I'll put it in the. I'll put it in random. Anyway, yeah. So I've got that. I guess. Let's just run the tests there. Have a look. Okay. Yeah. So these controller methods are now looking very slick, aren't they?
Yeah.
And we have our new service, right, like so. Why are they complaining about Volox? Is it just a spelling thing? And it seems to me here in some ways that this is not, I mean, I guess it is a Volox because we've got the volunteer icon. I mean, there's a subsequent refactoring that might be good, but let's not worry about that. And so we've got that, and then let's close everything else.
Okay. And
then I want the service, the spec services, build markers with info window. I might like to have things this way around, don't I? Close others. Okay.
I'm gonna go get a cup of tea.
Oh, sure. Okay. Just catch you in a minute. Expect builder marker to have received build markers with volops. Why this thing is not making much sense to me. Rule yield once with expect to yield control. Okay. RSpec. I think blocks. No. I wonder, is the thing here to make this a double marker builder? Can we expect to receive RSpec receive with block? Okay.
All right, I'm back.
Hey. I'm just looking at this. It's like when you we can receive things, and then we can kind of have an implementation. So I was just looking at changing this around, this marker builder into a double, and then I guess let's have a look here. Oh, I had one failure. Oh my goodness, what's going on there?
What happened?
Not sure. It's a stack level too deep. I guess I will just back out of. Yeah, no, it works as. Yeah, it's interesting. The spy works. I think they have received. Can we do RSpec spy with blocks? RSpec spies.
So what are you trying to do here?
Well, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to set it like I would like to. In the first instance, it would just be nice to like be able to check that build markers is being past the correct block, if you know what I mean. But maybe that's even not the appropriate thing to be doing. I mean, I guess what we would like is maybe what you were talking about. We would like build markers like at the moment, none of this code is actually executed. And what it would be nice is to actually just execute this code, a number of times. Is it actually doing what is it doing there? I mean, what the marker builder does under the hood is call this for each element in the volops.
Yeah,
right?
that's what the gem does.
Yeah. And so if we could simulate that behavior and just have it call this method, that number of times, that would allow us to effectively,
Well,
yeah.
what do you mean well, what we could do, think about this. No.
I have a feeling that the spies are they actually have less support for these kinds of things. And that actually, so if we turn it around into basically we can.
Well, what you could do, right?
Yeah, go on.
Is that method call? See the method call in the service that I've used?
This one.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
I mean, I'm thinking if that's a double,
yeah,
we could just have the double call the. I mean, basically, we can have the double do stuff. So, for example,
but as it is right now, you have to get in there and actually.
I mean, I guess the thing that we specifically want to do here is we want to call block ask to a double.
You actually want to run the block, or you just want to see that it's run, like that?
Well, I think sensibly we want to run it, and actually the number of times is kind of irrelevant. We don't want to test that the marker builder, calls it a number of times, because we're assuming that GPMAP for Rails has its own tests. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we want to, I would say, call this thing, once, and then just check, and in particular, like this should also be extracted as a dependency. We want to check that this is, hitting its external partners in the right way.
Without doing a yield.
Well, I mean, it feels like
because right now we control marker builder in the test, right? It's our spy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I'm just switching it around to our double to give us even more control of it.
So it's not it's not the real gem.
No, absolutely.
So we have to somehow,
yeah, we want to. I mean, we've got this. We've got this thing in our spec. Let's change to the 3.4.
I mean, you can just say to receive with blah and yield, right?
Okay, well that just do it. So if we say to receive with, and then just do and yield, will that just automatically run the block?
Well, you have to pass something that it's yielding, right? A vol up and a marker.
Right, use and yield to make the test double yield the provided arguments when it receives the message.
So pass in the vol up 1 and a double, that's a marker. Say vol up 1.
Oh, okay, yep.
And then double marker. Just put it right there, double marker.
Yeah, because we don't. I mean, it's going to have a lot of. I guess probably it should be more like it'd be simpler for it to be a spy, because. if it's a
Because
double,
it'll
complain
accept
about
yeah.
all the things. I mean, we can check afterwards that it's received this, that, and the other. Right.
Probably want to,
No, let's put a little. I have to do that. I think there's going to be all sorts of other different sort of breaks there. Undefined method and yield.
I think there is. And
No, I think there is. I think I just have this. It should be receive. So that's the thing is, that I think that spies can't have and yield. Our spec spy and yield.
Yeah, that's probably true. So if you,
I think we're on the right track. I was just going to double check that that's. Yes. Okay. So this in principle should allow us to, yeah. So now Volop starts to receive unexpected messages.
so if you change that to a spy for right now,
we can just check if our approximate approach is working. Yeah. So now we get uninitialized concept build markers with an info window, action control. So now we expose the other dependency here,
right?
Which is this base helpers there. So if we call that the helper, and we pop that in here, right. So the helper is in there. It's injected.
You're gonna have to create an iterator and do it in the.
Yeah. So we've got a helper. I feel like maybe the listener should be the first thing, but anyway. But so part of me kind of goes, oh, this is kind of convoluted, you know, this series of steps. I think that there's also, but I guess there's kind of a value here, which I think is that the it sort of exposes what the dependencies of the class are, and then that like if you find that it's got right, this thing is like interacting with 18 different things, then that's a danger sign, kind of thing. Anyway. Yes, that's the other advantage of spies is they don't complain so much. Okay, so then that now passes. And so
Now you can assert things.
So now this expectation there, that almost feels like that should be in a before block, because we were going to kind of want that to happen for everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's almost, you could put like an allow on the thing there. Okay. So then we could ask for other things, which are, we could expect, and I mean, actually, to be honest here, yeah, the VOLOPs, it being an array is irrelevant, and VOLOP2 is irrelevant, and VOLOP, I'm just going to change that to a 1 because it hurts my brain. Like that. Okay. There we go. I mean, it's an interesting question about, I mean, the marker could be pulled out and we could be saying that we expect the, we could kind of end up getting detailed, but I think that what we're not doing at the moment is like, it's like, so we're describing it as a request marker builder. So we've got here, it should be like calls rendered to string, listener twice. What expects. The listener is a spy. Listener, you have
to space
have received. I'm just going to put it in there once for the moment. To have received, rendered a string. and the helper, we expect the helper to have received asset calls.
Asset path.
Yeah, asset path on helper. Expect helper to have received asset path. Let's see what happens with that. Okay. We've got another. Blech. All right, give me a single failing one. Let's take the first one. What's the problem here? Stack level too deep. Volops. And that's on line 8. Oh, so Volops
You
is...
did a recursion there, so it's got to be spy Volops, right?
Yeah. In fact, we don't...
It's got to be
and it could be, I mean, to be honest...
It's got to be a symbol, not a hash.
Right. This is being passed into the marker builder, and so we're not seeing it again, and we don't care. So it can just be a double, right? Because nothing happens to it. I think there we go. And then we're calling it. Okay, all right. Now let's have it now. Then okay. Calling it in more than one place. Volops. Okay, so like we're building it, yeah, and then we are expecting it to go there. Okay. Yeah, and I guess that making it a double is kind of safer that we don't have unexpected things happening with it. Okay. Right, and to render the string like exactly 2 times. So, okay. So marker build markers with info window, requests marker builder to build markers. It calls asset path on the helper, and it calls render string on the listener.
So we've tested the dependencies, right?
We've tested the dependencies on the the gem, basically on the
gem and the Rails controller.
Yeah, the sort of the stuff that's outside of our control, kind of thing. I mean, The interesting question then is, one could be writing a series of extra tests to check that, precisely that the volop,
calls all this
is passed into is set to be, I guess marker lat there is being called with that, isn't it? That's kind of implied. I mean, this is, we were trying to like work out a way to sort of meta-program hack the volop organization to sort of handle this more gracefully, but none of the solutions seem to. Well, I guess there's the probable solution there is like a single table inheritance.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that so I'm tempted to sort of stop there, or at least pong there anyway. Just look through this urge to make the listener the first entity, but anyway. There's an extent to which we've got this kind of like, these are interface details. Do you know what I mean? In here, like this text.
Yeah.
And I have mixed feelings about that. And then there's kind of stuff related to particular icons and so on. Anyway, let me just. Yeah. And I guess our helper and our listener, it would be
probably that text should be changed too.
The text, which text should be changed?
The text that's there potentially under the title on line 33 and the build markers service.
Right, because it's saying here
That's when it was like
Mm.
tightly associated with just an org.
Yeah, so into now what
Uh,
I mean, in some ways what this should be here, I mean probably we can, the simplest thing is just to remove that, isn't it? Because we can just say click here to see volunteer opportunities rather than saying at a particular locate thing. And I guess in future, ultimately, it's going to be volunteer opportunities at a location. And I guess if there's only one
well, right
organization,
now,
yeah, go on.
the vol up, each vol up gets its own marker, right?
Yes,
The way that we've done it. So,
yeah. Although for the Harrow local ones, in the thing here, it goes from the volop to work out the organization, and then from the organization, it actually can display multiple volops. But yeah, it seems sensible to remove with that. I was just I might just do that.
does it actually display multiple vol ups on the same?
It will not for the do it, but it will for ours.
Ew.
And it's kind of it's sort of I mean, basically, it should we ultimately we need to move to that location model. I think that the one you were talking about
Uh-huh.
to better support. I mean, I think that's. I wonder if that's. I mean, I guess if I'm optimistic, that's that like the DDD, moving to the model that better reflects the reality of things and ultimately hopefully should support us doing lots of cool stuff. But anyway, I was just going to make the listener and the helper. I think one of the what I notice here is it's kind of in some ways dangerous to make things spies because then you're not alerted if there are unexpected interactions like this. Right,
Uh-huh.
I didn't expect helper to receive asset path. Received unexpected message. What have I done wrong here then?
Because it's a double right now.
But the double. Oh, is this now? So if I do this, oh, what it means is that in the other situations, I'd have to do like an allow for it in each case.
You could put it in the before.
I mean, I could, and then the before thing has like 3 allows. I mean, yeah, I guess the thing I feel about that. Yeah, I mean, the tighter. What we could have is this, and then we're hmm. And so that sort of alerts us if somebody tries to do it basically if somebody is trying to collaborate in other ways. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to push this. I am. What did we do? Like this is fleshes out. The fleshes out the what is it? This is the build markers with info window. Build markers with info window. Okay, so that code's going up. But why did that? What? Why has that failed now? They pass individually. They pass in the 3 of them. What's going on here? When I run the entire suite of specs, it fails for some reason. But the spec passes by itself.
Oh, really?
That's weird. But when I run them in conjunction with the what's going on there? I've got a stack level too deep. It's like somehow the as JSON thing is being called many, many times. They run fine like that. I mean, I guess and return. Was it supposed to return that we called to JSON on? I mean, this is it. Basically, it returns markers. Should we just like let markers double? Right. And let's just have. I mean, I guess these allow things. So anyway, so we want to allow this to be called like to JSON nil.
Getting failures with as JSON.
Yeah, me too. That's exactly what I was getting. I just have a suspicion that it's related to this. Let me see. Run them in a group now. Okay. Okay, so now, and it's only 22 that's okay. Okay, yeah, I think I okay. Yeah, I think I fixed it. There was something about the way in which yeah. There was something about the way in which it's and I think it requests, and then I guess there's another one here which is that it's it returns JSON version of markers, and then here we would call the build markers with info window. Would we even expect? So this could be there just like a based on string symbol there, and say, yeah, expect build markers.
Oh yeah, because like I had to call JSON.
Yeah.
That's weird that it was passing in
Yeah, it was strange. Oh, I should have done that anyway. Okay. So what I can do there is I can now do git commit commit minus a minus minus amend, and there we go. Escape. Okay, and then git push a. Okay.
Is that going to screw up my branch?
Well, I don't think so, because this is basically the commit that I pushed there was had a failing test in it, and so rather than pushing on top of it, I just threw it away and replaced it with this one. So if you just do a pull, possibly with a force, you should just.
It's getting a conflict now.
Right, but so if can you do a pull, a force pull?
What? What do you mean? Like I
Like
just pulled. I had pulled earlier.
Right,
Like
right. But so instead of that, if you do like instead of that, if you do git like reset minus minus merge or whatever, and then if you do git pull minus F, I mean hit up twice and then insert the minus F just after the git pull.
Still merge.
Oh really? Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Can you do git checkout?
I think that's because you rewrote history.
Yeah, I did, but I mean, I threw away that commit, but I would have thought that you could throw away the commit yourself. Right? There's no reason for you to necessarily have that. You've got an additional commit that you don't need, so you could like do git reset minus minus merge, and then just I guess maybe the simplest thing to do is get out of the branch, just like delete the branch and then pull the new one. Yeah, sorry, I didn't think that was going to create. I thought there would be a way like to be on that branch, just like pull that straight out and avoid the conflict. I guess Git doesn't know that. Yeah. Anyway, so we've got all green there. I guess the interesting question will be, can I do rake coveralls from report here? Can I do that? Coveralls report. See if that works.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm just doing I'm trying to do rake coveralls here because that was one thing that was preventing us from merging it in. But no, I mean, I have mixed feelings about this test. I don't know how you feel about it. I mean, I think the interesting thing to be asking ourselves, maybe not right now, but in the order of the weekly or monthly thing is, what are these things buying us? But I think you're right that the text here in the title should change. But I also feel like the things that are related to the view ultimately shouldn't be in the service. Would you agree?
Probably, yeah.
But I think probably you've got like 10 minutes left, as have I. So do you want to just change this title to what you think it should be?
What?
Well, I think the sensible thing is maybe just to remove the @volop title at the end there.
Getting errors on Cucumber.
Are you? Yeah, I ran all the cukes on my side. Rake coveralls report has not given me a report, which is annoying. Yeah, what errors are you getting there?
Something just.
Oh, is that you've had a Phantom JS crash? You've had a Phantom JS crash. I think you did that. In that case, you just. I mean, it's the interesting thing is telling you to submit a bug report, and I kind of went to that page to do it, and it's like its instructions are like there's like 7-step instructions to submit the crash report, and I was like, come on, guys, I'm not gonna work through all of that. You're kidding me.
7 pages of instructions?
No, like 7. Like there was 7 steps. I mean, go to the page, like in the thing that you see it. Like you could go and have a look at the page. It has a description of what have you, what to do in order to file the bug report. I'm like, yeah. I'm not sure how much value we're getting from Hound at the moment, to be honest. Anyhow.
So this title.
Yeah.
What does this actually do? What does this marker JSON really do?
Well, I think what this does is it sets the icon to be a particular thing, and then it sets the kind of tooltip. So when you mouse over it, it pops up with a click here to see that whatever. And at the moment, that's going to not make so much sense. So like, I think I've got it on my screen here. Like if I mouse over it, it says click here to see volunteering opportunities at Home Visiting Volunteer for Families in Harrow. So it doesn't really make any sense.
But when you go over top of the red ones, it makes sense, right?
Well, maybe not. Let's see. No, it would do. I mean, basically, if we wanted it to, I think if we wanted it to continue to work in the way that it used to do, is here, we would need to do sort of the same thing that we're for the volop title as we're doing with the volop latitude nil, whatever. We would need to check, you know, is the volop source from do it, in which case we should call the, like here, we should call do it org title. And if it's not, then we should do volop organization title. But we could, I mean, in fact, actually, what we could have there is we could do, as we've done with like that link thing and stuff or whatever on volunteer op, we could throw in like we've got like organization name. Actually, so we could just call organization name, actually. We've already got it, haven't we?
True, yeah.
Yeah, so we could, this should change to organization name. Do you want to do that on your side?
So,
but yeah, that makes a lot more sense. And it's interesting though, we obviously don't have any tests of that.
Yeah,
because otherwise they would be failing.
I guess you could put in a step on that pull request saying write a test for it.
Yeah, I think that's, obviously we're not going to write any more stuff now. Maybe just, you could make that change and push it up. I mean, it's the kind of thing, like, even testing the tooltip, goodness me. Okay. What I'm more interested in here is where would I feel like we should have somewhere a place where we store like the text things. Oh my, like in website 1.
YAML. Any YAML file.
Yeah, like I feel like recently I've been working on the project, maybe it wasn't local support. Where does Rails store its like the strings that it
English.yaml.
Here we go, like, and there you go. This kind of thing.
Yeah, like in there.
Config locales, okay.
The same thing on
local support. Here we go. Yeah, so we've got like, yeah, these kind of things. Like if I look at this, it feels to me like this text, click here to see volunteer opportunities, should be in this file. Would you agree? Yeah?
Yeah. But there's a big kind of epic.
Yeah, for internationalization and so on.
Text out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to start on it right now. I'm just, what's the syntax for referring to those things? I mean, I guess if I search for like messages expired or something, I will find that. Find in path. Messages. No. How would I? Oh, why is my screen's going to sleep? Go on. Come on. Okay. Just move every window in different directions. Anyway, do you know what the syntax is to refer to? I guess I could just look it up. What is it? It's config locales Rails.
I just pushed.
Cool. So I think we're kind of.
If you want to add a note to that pull request.
Yes,
maybe.
I will. Yeah, have I got, what have I got here? Must create task for a veteran controller actually, we've done the refactoring controller, haven't we? And then creates, or let's say like refactor controller creates a task for test of map icon tooltip. Okay. Cool. Well, over the weekend I was like, oh, I want to refactor these things, and we have. So I think that's
Cool.
we have achieved. So what are your plans for the rest of the week?
I should be around.
Cool. I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm hoping to like merge this in very soon. I'm thinking to kind of try and switch focus to website 1
Yeah,
this week. Are you up for a bit of pairing on website 1?
sure.
Yeah, and yeah, we want to move towards, getting set up so that we. I mean, I think that I'm very keen to support much higher throughput to Agile Ventures for the next MOOC, and I think that should bring a lot more data, which moves us towards your goal of having lots more data to do analysis, right?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, cool. We can get 2 birds with 1 stone. Nice one. All right, I'll catch up with you tomorrow then. You just muted. I said I'll catch up with you tomorrow.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I said that sounds good. All right.
I think you were for some reason muted briefly, and yeah. Anything else we need to work out before we go?
No.
Great. Thanks, Michael. Excellent as always. Do if you do have a chance to look through any of the other open pull requests in any of the projects, your input, of course, most welcome. But otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Okay. Bye for now. Oh, we were going to do the. Didn't do a kickoff.